women don't like nice guys. I work with women all day and I hear them complaining about toxic men. And then when a guy is nice to them, they just always talk about how he's just too thirsty. How is he too thirsty? Because he's into you. And then you want to complain about the men that are talking to multiple other women and are emotionally unavailable and don't give you time of the day.
Imagine this. One day you wake up, you have done everything society told you to do. You worked hard, you stayed loyal, you showed up, you gave attention, affection, time, money, protection, everything a man is supposed to give. And right when you think things are finally falling into place, she disappears. Ghosted, cold, distant, gone. You sit there staring at your phone, wondering what the hell just happened, while deep down, a voice whispers the brutal truth you have been avoiding for years. Women do not want what they already have. They want what they cannot have. And the second you hand them your full attention on a silver platter, the game over. Today, we are ripping the mask off once and for all, exposing exactly why she pulls away the moment you start caring too much. Why modern women are wired to destroy the very thing they claim they want. And most importantly, why millions of men are finally walking away for good and never looking back. Stay until the very end because I am going to show you the exact moment in history when women crossed the point of no return and why the men they begged to leave are now living better than ever without them. If you want more raw, no filter, angry guy content, the second it drops, smash that like button right now. Share this video with every brother who needs to hear the truth. Subscribe. And most importantly, click the notification bell and select all so you never miss a single upload. Also, if you are tired of losing money in crypto or watching your portfolio get wrecked because you do not know what you are doing, go check out Angry's Crypto Academy, linked in the description below. That is where I teach you step by step how to actually buy, sell, trade, and most importantly, protect your assets so you stop bleeding money and start building real wealth. Click that link right now and get started today. And if you are enjoying these videos and you want to keep this channel growing strong, you can buy me a Red Bull with the link in the description. Every can keeps me locked in and bringing you the truth without compromise. I appreciate every single one of you that supports the mission. All right, let us get into it. Picture the scene. You meet a girl, sparks fly, conversation is electric. She is laughing at your jokes, touching your arm, texting you good morning, telling her friends about you. Everything feels perfect. So, like a normal man with a beating heart, you start showing her you actually care. You double text because you are excited. You plan a nice date. You tell her you are really into her. You give her the attention she has been craving. And then out of nowhere, the energy shifts. Replies get shorter. She takes longer to respond. Suddenly, she is super busy with work, the gym, her friends, her dog, her plants, whatever excuse after excuse. You start wondering what you did wrong. You replay every conversation in your head. Maybe you came on too strong. Maybe you should have waited longer to text back. Maybe you should have played more games. And while you are sitting there torturing yourself, she is already scrolling through the next 10 guys, sliding into her DMs. Because the second you became available, the second you became predictable, the second you handed her certainty on a platter, her attraction died. And here is the part that will make your blood boil. This is not an accident. This is not bad luck. This is female nature operating exactly as designed. Women are not broken for doing this. They are working perfectly. The problem is we were sold to a Disney fantasy that love is about showing up, being consistent, communicating, and giving endless attention. That works in movies. In real life, it gets you discarded faster than last week's leftovers. Let me say it louder for the guys in the back. Attraction is not built on how much you care. Attraction is built on polarity, mystery, and emotional tension. The moment you remove the tension, the moment you become safe, predictable, and always available, you stop being the prize and you become the doormat. And women do not hate doormats. They step on them and keep walking. You see this play out 1,000 times a day on social media. A guy posts a long emotional paragraph under his girl's picture, telling the world how she is his everything, how he cannot live without her, how grateful he is every day that she chose him. And within weeks, she is posting cryptic quotes about needing space. Or worse, she is in someone else's passenger seat while that paragraph is still sitting there getting heart emojis from his boys who do not have the guts to tell him the truth. Why? Because the second he put her on a pedestal and made her the center of his universe, he killed the masculine feminine polarity that made her wet in the first place. Women want to feel, they do not want to think. They do not operate on logic and facts the way men do. They operate on emotion and energy. And when your energy screams, I need you to validate me, her body physically rejects you. It is biological, it is not personal. But society lied to us and told us the opposite. They told us to open up, to be vulnerable, to show our feelings, to communicate every thought in our head. And now we have an entire generation of men crying in their cars on TikTok, wondering why she left after he finally let her in. Here's the cold reality: the more you chase when she pulls away, the faster she runs. The more you try to fix it with logic and long text, the deeper you dig your own grave. The more you show her she is your only option, the quicker she starts looking for the exit. And the worst part, she cannot even explain why she lost interest. If you ask her, she will say, I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same. Or you didn't do anything wrong, I just not feeling it anymore. Translation: you became boring, safe, and predictable, and her body is screaming for the tension she felt when you were still a little mysterious, a little unreachable, a little dangerous. And do not for one second think this is about playing childish games or pretending you do not care. That is what the other extreme that blue pill coaches sell you. The truth is in the middle. You can care. You can be a good man. You can have standards and morals. But you cannot let your care turn into desperation. You cannot let your affection turn into suffocation. There is a difference between giving attention and giving away your power. The man who understands this difference is the man women obsess over years later when it is far too late. Let me tell you a quick story that perfectly illustrates this. I knew a guy, good job, great shape, funny, respectful, the total package on paper. He meets this girl at a friend's party. Instant chemistry. They go on 3 amazing dates. He is feeling it. She is feeling it. Everything is clicking. So on date 4, he decides to lock it down. He tells her he really likes her, deletes his dating apps in front of her to prove he is serious, starts texting her good morning and good night every single day, planning elaborate dates, basically turns himself into her personal emotional support golden retriever. 2 weeks later, she hits him with the I think we should just be friends speech. He was devastated. Kept asking me what he did wrong because he gave her everything, everything. And that was exactly the problem. He gave her everything too soon, too fast, with too much need attached to it. He removed all mystery. He removed all challenge. He removed the very thing that made her chase him in the beginning, his independence. Fast forward 6 months. Same guy starts working on himself, hits the gym harder, picks up new hobbies, travels solo, posts less, focuses on his money, stops chasing entirely. And guess who starts blowing up his phone out of nowhere with the hey stranger text? Same girl. Why? Because the second he pulled his energy back and put it into himself, he became the mystery again. He became the man who might walk away. And nothing triggers attraction in a woman faster than the possibility that the man she took for granted might actually be gone for good. This is not theory. This is pattern recognition backed by millions of men waking up to the same reality every single day. Social media accelerated female nature on steroids. Dating apps gave the average woman access to an endless stream of male validation. Instagram and TikTok turned every 5 into a pseudo celebrity with thousands of orbiters liking her thirst traps within seconds. Attention became oxygen. And when attention is that abundant, the one guy who gives it without making her work for it becomes invisible. That is why you can be 6 and 40, yeah, make six figures, have abs, and still get left on red by a girl who works part time at Starbucks. It is not about your value as a man, it is about how you deliver your value. And if you deliver it with desperation, even the highest value man becomes low value in her eyes. Women today are addicted to the feeling of being chased. Hey guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now. They do not even realize it most of the time. It is subconscious. When the chase ends, the attraction ends. That is why, as soon as you become her boyfriend and stop the flirty energy, stop teasing, stop leading, stop being a little unpredictable, she starts losing feelings. It is not you, it is the dynamic you allowed to die. And here is where it gets really dark. A lot of women will actually manufacture drama and chaos just to feel something. They will pick fights over nothing. They will pull away first just to see if you will chase. They will flirt with other guys in front of you to test your frame. Why? Because peace feels boring when you're addicted to emotional roller coasters. And modern culture taught them that boredom is the worst sin of all. So instead of appreciating the calm masculine energy of a man who has his life together, they sabotage it because drama feels familiar. Chaos feels like love to someone who never had a stable father figure showing them what real masculinity looks like. That is also why no amount of communication fixes this. You can talk until you are blue in the face. You can send paragraph after paragraph explaining your feelings. She will nod. She will agree. She might even cry and say you are right. And then 2 weeks later, she will do the exact same thing again. Because this is not a logic problem. This is an emotional wiring problem. And the only language that rewires female attraction is distance, outcome independence, and unbreakable masculine frame. Now, let me take you even deeper into the mechanics of how this actually plays out inside her mind. Because once you see the circuitry, you can never unsee it, and you will stop blaming yourself for things that were never in your control to begin with. When a woman first meets you and feels that initial rush, her brain is flooded with dopamine, norepinephrine, and phenylethylamine, the same chemical cocktail that gets released when people do hard drugs. That is why the beginning feels so intoxicating for both of you. You are literally her drug. But here is the part that nobody talks about. Drugs lose their potency with repeated exposure. The same dose that used to send her heart racing now barely registers. So, what does the addict do? She starts looking for a stronger hit, a new guy, a new argument, a new reason to feel something intense. And the man who keeps supplying the same steady dose of affection, attention, and predictability becomes the equivalent of decaf coffee, useless to someone chasing the original high. This is why working on the relationship almost never brings back the spark once it is gone. You cannot negotiate genuine desire. You cannot nice guy your way back into her primal attraction switches. Those switches only flip when there is uncertainty, when there is the very real possibility that you are perfectly willing to walk away and never look back. The moment she feels in her gut that your happiness does not depend on her reactions, something primal wakes up. Suddenly, the drug is potent again. And do not believe me? Look at every single couple you know where the man is completely outcome independent, a little aloof, focused on his mission, slow to commit, quick to walk away from disrespect. Watch how his woman orbits him like a satellite. Watch how she dresses up for him, cooks for him, texts first, apologizes first, chases him. Then look at the couples where the man is always available, always apologetic, always trying to fix things. Watch how she talks to him like he is an annoying roommate she is stuck with. Same woman, different energy from the man, completely different reality. This is the part of the reason why so many men are done. We finally figured out that the game was never fair. And instead of begging for new rules, we just took our ball and went home. And home has never felt better. Let us talk about what actually happened over the last 30 years, because this did not happen overnight. This was a slow, deliberate campaign to strip men of their natural power and then blame them when women no longer felt attraction. It started with the messaging: you do not need a man. A woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Men are trash. The future is female. Cool. Message received. Then came the legal weapons: no fault divorce, family courts that treat children like lottery tickets, alimony that lasts longer than most marriages, child support that turns fathers into lifelong ATMs while giving them zero say in how the money is spent. Then came the social weapons: cancel culture for any man who dares to look too long, speak too directly, or stand too tall in his masculinity. Hashtags like kill all men trending, while the same platforms ban you for saying men have it tough too. Paternity fraud legalized in many places, false allegations used as negotiation tactics, and an entire generation of boys raised to believe that their natural instincts are toxic. Women cheered for all of it. They posted the memes. They clapped when men got destroyed in court. They laughed at the male tears mugs. They told men explicitly and repeatedly, "We do not need you. We do not want you. Go away." So we did. And now they are shocked, absolutely shocked, that we actually listened. TikTok is flooded with videos of women in their late 20s and 30s asking the same question with panic in their voices: where have all the good men gone? Translation: where are all the men who are still willing to trade their peace, their money, their freedom, and their future for the privilege of dealing with my attitude? Answer: we are at the gym. We are in our apartments that we do not have to share with anybody. We are traveling. We are building businesses. We are fishing, lifting, reading, gaming, stacking crypto, sleeping 8 hours a night, eating steak, and waking up without a single text message asking us where we are or what we are doing. We are living the quietest, most luxurious lives imaginable. And the craziest part is it costs us almost nothing, because men are naturally minimalist when nobody is around to impress. We took all the energy we used to pour into chasing, simping, arguing, providing, protecting, and we turned it inward. And for the first time in our lives, we actually like who we see in the mirror. Meanwhile, the same women who told us to disappear are now posting videos, crying selfies with captions like, "I just want a masculine man who will lead," while they are still following 500 OnlyFans accounts and arguing with strangers in comment sections. They want the benefits of traditional masculinity without offering anything traditional in return. They want the captain, but refuse to be the first mate. They want the provider energy from men they will not cook or clean for. They want protector energy from men they call toxic for opening a door. They want father energy from men they will take to court the moment they get bored. And the answer from men in 2025 is a calm, unified, deafening silence. You see it everywhere now: speed dating events with 30 women and 3 men, singles mixers that get canceled because not enough guys signed up, women showing up to bars in groups of 10 and leaving alone because every man in the place is sitting with his boys talking about the stock market instead of approaching. Dating apps where the average woman still gets 200 likes a day, but the messages are from guys in other countries or bots because the local high value men deleted the apps years ago. Women are starting to feel the cold wind of reality, and it terrifies them. That is why you are seeing the sudden wave of bring men back content. Men are giving up, and it's scary. The dating market is broken because men stopped trying. I miss when men used to approach. They finally realized the dog they told to leave actually walked out the door and is never coming back inside. But here is what they still do not understand: We are not hiding. We are not depressed. We are not in our mom's basements. We are thriving. We kept the money we used to spend on dates, birthdays, vacations for two, engagement rings, weddings, and divorces. We kept the time we used to spend arguing about where the relationship is going. We kept the peace we used to lose every time she decided to test us with attitude. And we turned all of it into the most fulfilling chapter of our lives. Solitude is not loneliness when you actually enjoy your own company. A one-bedroom apartment with a big TV, a stocked fridge, and zero drama feels like a palace. A weekend with nothing planned except lifting, reading, and grilling, a ribeye feels like a vacation. A bank account that only goes up because nobody is draining it feels like winning the lottery every single month. And the best part? We no longer have to pretend. We do not have to walk on eggshells, wondering if today is the day she decides our tone was wrong. We do not have to decode mixed signals. We do not have to perform emotional labor for someone who will never reciprocate. We do not have to worry about being replaced the moment a taller guy with a better jawline slides into her DMs. We are free. Women gambled that men were bluffing when we said we would walk. They thought we would always come crawling back because biology, society, and loneliness would force us. They were wrong. We discovered something they never expected. Peace is more addictive than female validation ever was. And once a man tastes that peace, there is no going back. You cannot lure him with sex because sex with peace is infinitely better than sex with chaos. You cannot lure him with promises of family because most of us watched our fathers or our friends get destroyed by the family court system. You cannot lure him with the threat of being alone forever because we already tried the alternative and it almost killed us. So here we are. Millions of men quietly living our best lives while the world that spent decades telling us we were worthless suddenly realizes it cannot function without us. And instead of rage, we feel something way more powerful: indifference. That indifference is the ultimate revenge. They wanted us gone, we left. Now they want us back, but the price of admission is no longer our dignity, and we are no longer willing to pay it. The silence is deafening now, and that is exactly how we like it. Let me paint the picture of what a man's life actually looks like once he fully walks away and never looks back. This is not some fantasy I am selling you. This is the daily reality for millions of us in 2025 and beyond. He wakes up at whatever time his body decides, not because an alarm is screaming or because someone is already mad that he did not say good morning fast enough. He rolls over, checks his phone, sees zero passive aggressive texts, zero guilt trips, zero we need to talk essays, and he smiles. That smile is worth more than any orgasm he ever chased at 3 a.m. trying to keep a woman happy. He brews his coffee exactly how he likes it. No arguing about whose turn it is to buy the expensive beans. No side eye because he used the wrong mug. Just silence, sunlight, and the smell of dark roast. He sits on his balcony or in his living room, scrolls through his investments, sees another 3% green day, and feels the quiet satisfaction of knowing every dollar in there is his and his alone. No one is about to spend it on hair appointments, girls' trips, or that new purse she deserves because she had a bad week. He hits the gym at 10 a.m. because that is when it is empty, not because he is trying to rush home before she starts blowing up his phone asking when he will be back. He trains heavy, listens to whatever music he wants at whatever volume he wants, takes his time in the sauna, and leaves feeling like a god. No one is waiting in the car getting impatient. No one is texting hurry up emojis, just him and the iron. Afternoon rolls around and he works on his business, his trades, his side hustle, his art, whatever actually lights him up. He's not distracted every 20 minutes by drama. He is not explaining to anyone why he needs 4 focused hours. He is not apologizing for wanting to build something bigger than himself. He just builds. And because his mind is clear, the money flows faster than it ever did when half his brain was occupied trying to decode female emotions. Evening comes, he cooks a massive ribeye or orders whatever he is craving with zero negotiation. He eats in front of his 85-inch TV, watching the game or a movie he actually likes, not whatever reality show she wanted because it's my turn to pick. He plays PlayStation until 2 a.m. if he feels like it, or he reads until he falls asleep with the book on his chest. No one is sighing loudly because he is not giving them attention. No one is starting an argument because he seems distant. Just peace, deep, uninterrupted peace. And when he lays his head down at night, his last thought is not, I wonder if she is mad at me, or I hope she does not cheat while I'm asleep. His last thought is gratitude. Gratitude for the quiet, gratitude for the freedom, gratitude for finally understanding that his value was never tied to how much chaos he was willing to tolerate. That is the luxury that women accidentally handed us on a silver platter when they spent decades telling us we were disposable. Now, let me tell you about the flip side because the contrast is almost comical at this point. She wakes up to a phone full of notifications, but they are all from other women hyping her up in group chats, orbiters liking her stories within 3 seconds of posting, and maybe one or two low value guys sending, hey, beautiful messages she ignores. No text from the masculine man she actually wants. No good morning paragraph from someone whose presence makes her feel safe. Just noise. Empty, hollow noise. She scrolls TikTok and sees another video of a girl half her age getting proposed to in Dubai while she is still trying to convince herself that being single is empowering. She tells herself she's happy. She posts another selfie with the caption, living my best life, while her stomach twists because she knows the likes will fade in an hour. And then it is just her and the silence again. She goes to brunch with her friends, and the entire conversation is about how there are no good men left. They all nod and say facts while secretly knowing they rejected or sabotaged every decent man who ever tried. They blame dating apps, they blame the economy, they blame men for not stepping up, but none of them are willing to look in the mirror and admit they spent their prime years chasing the top 5% of men who would never commit while treating the other 95% like garbage. She opens Hinge or Bumble and swipes for an hour. Same recycled profiles, same guys she swiped left on years ago now look a little more appealing because the pool has shrunk dramatically. She matches with someone who seems decent, goes on a date, and spends the entire night trying to figure out why she is not excited. He's nice, he pays, he texts when he says he will, but something is missing, that spark, that tension, that masculine edge, that feeling of being a little off balance. And she goes home disappointed again, telling herself, I guess I am just too picky, when the truth is, she trained herself to only feel attraction for men who treat her like an option. She lays in bed at night, scrolling through her camera roll, looking at old photos with exes who she swore were toxic, but who also made her feel something intense. She wonders why nothing feels the same anymore. She tells herself she has healed and raised her standards. But deep down, she knows the standards she raised were never about character or compatibility. They were about the feeling. And the only men who still give her that feeling are the ones who refuse to commit, because commitment kills the drug she is addicted to. And the worst part, she cannot even admit any of this out loud because the entire culture she helped build would eat her alive. So she keeps performing. She keeps posting the strong, independent woman content. She keeps saying she does not need a man. She keeps pretending the emptiness is actually fulfillment. Meanwhile, the man she ghosted 3 years ago is somewhere grilling steaks with his boys, laughing louder than he ever did with her, sleeping deeper than he ever did next to her, and living a life so full that her name does not even cross his mind unless someone brings her up. That is the new reality. Two parallel worlds. One group of people who chose peace over performance and are thriving beyond anything they imagined possible. Another group who chose chaos, validation, and ego, and are now staring into the void they created, begging the people they told to disappear to please come back and fix it. But the door is closed. The lock has been changed. And the men on the other side are not angry anymore. We are not bitter. We are not waiting for apologies. We are simply uninterested. Because here is the part that almost brings a tear to my eye, not from sadness, but from pride. We are watching an entire generation of boys growing up seeing exactly what happened to their fathers, their uncles, their older brothers. They are watching the news. They are reading the statistics. They are internalizing the message early. Do not get married. Do not cohabitate. Do not have children inside a system that rewards women for destroying you. Do not trade your peace for the promise of conditional love. And instead of becoming weak or lost, these young men are becoming absolute savages in the best way possible. They are lifting heavier than any generation before them. They are stacking money faster. They are learning skills, building brotherhoods, traveling the world, and refusing to let anyone guilt them into a life of servitude. They are not asking for permission. They are not begging for approval. They are simply opting out of the entire script that was written for them and writing a new one where the main character is free. Women are starting to feel this shift in real time. That is why you are seeing the panic content explode. Men are becoming too focused on themselves. Masculinity is in crisis. Men are emotionally unavailable. They are not unavailable because they finally became available to themselves first. And nothing terrifies a woman more than a man who no longer needs her validation to feel whole. So the question is no longer, how do I get her back? The question has evolved into something much more powerful. Why would I ever go back? Once you have tasted freedom, chaos tastes like poison. Once you have felt peace, drama feels like a prison. Once you have built a life that revolves around your own happiness, letting someone else become the center again feels like the dumbest trade imaginable. That is the red pill that keeps on giving. It does not just show you the truth about women. It shows you the truth about yourself. And once you see how incredible your life can be without the anchor, you realize the anchor was never worth carrying in the first place. We are not hiding. We are not broken. We are not waiting. We are living. And the best part is we are just getting started. The empire of male peace is rising. One quiet morning, one heavy lift, one green candle, one night of deep sleep at a time, and no amount of crying TikToks, no amount of shaming language, no amount of society will collapse. Fear mongering is going to lure us back into the cage we finally escaped. We are home. And home has never felt this good. And now the story takes an even sharper turn because what started as millions of individual men quietly choosing peace has turned into a full blown cultural earthquake that nobody saw coming. Least of all, the people who spent decades swinging the wrecking ball at masculinity itself. Walk with me through the timeline because this is where history gets written in real time. 2020, 2022, the first wave of men delete the dating apps, stop approaching in public, and go ghost. Most women laugh. They call it the man session. They post memes about how men are intimidated by strong women. They tell each other this phase will pass once men get lonely enough. They keep living exactly the same way, certain the supply of male attention is infinite. 2023, the laughter starts getting nervous. Dating apps report record female user growth, but plummeting male signups. Hinge runs national ad campaigns, literally begging men to come back. Bumble flips the entire model so women no longer have to message first because there aren't enough men left to message. Women start complaining that all the good men are taken or gay. Reality is starting to creep in, but the coping is still strong. 2024, the coping collapses. Speed dating companies go bankrupt because events are 90% women. Nightclubs that used to be packed on Saturday nights now look like women's networking events. Female influencers who built entire brands on high value woman content start losing followers in droves because the audience of desperate men who used to worship them has vanished. The first viral videos appear of women showing up to singles nights and filming empty rooms with captions like, "Where is everybody?" The comment sections are brutal, and for once, the algorithms cannot hide them. You told us to leave. We left. Enjoy. 2025. We are here right now, and it is glorious. Marriage rates have fallen off a cliff. Home purchases by single men under 40 are at all-time highs. Luxury car dealerships report that their fastest growing demographic is men aged 25 to 35 with no co-signers and no wives. Gym memberships for men are up 40%. Therapy for men is actually down because peace turned out to be the best therapist money never had to buy. Vasectomy clinics cannot keep up with demand from guys in their 20s who have zero intention of ever gambling on the family court casino. And the statistics that nobody wants to talk about on mainstream: birth rates in Western countries are now below replacement level by such a wide margin that governments are starting to panic. Japan, South Korea, Italy, Spain, and now the United States and Canada are all watching their populations begin to shrink for the first time in modern history. Politicians are holding emergency meetings about demographic collapse. Think tanks are publishing papers with headlines like "The Disappearance of Men from Family Formation." And every single one of them dances around the real reason because saying it out loud would destroy careers. The real reason is simple. Men looked at the contract, read the fine print, calculated the risk reward ratio, and quietly said, "Hard pass." We are not reproducing the next generation of wage slaves and divorce statistics. We are not signing up to work 60 hours a week just to hand half our check to a woman who will replace us the moment the 7-year itch hits. We are not volunteering to be emotional punching bags, financial ATMs, and scapegoats for every problem society refuses to fix. We looked at our fathers who stayed and got destroyed. We looked at our friends who got married and lost everything in under 3 years. We looked at the court documents, the text messages, the secretly recorded phone calls, the GoPro footage of meltdowns over nothing. And we made a collective decision that the juice is no longer worth the squeeze, not even close. And here's the part that keeps them up at night. This is not a phase. This is not a tantrum. This is not something that will reverse when the right woman comes along. The right woman was never the variable that was broken. The entire system was. You cannot shame a man back into a burning building by calling him scared of fire. You cannot guilt a man back into slavery by calling him selfish for wanting freedom. You cannot manipulate a man back into self sacrifice by questioning his masculinity when he already watched real masculinity get punished for decades. The script has been flipped permanently. Women are now the ones making the hour-long YouTube apology videos titled, "Where Are All the Good Men?" Except nobody is watching because the men they are apologizing to are on a fishing trip with no cell service and do not even know the video exists. Women are now the ones lowering their standards to levels their grandmothers would call embarrassing and still getting no responses. Women are now the ones offering to go half on dates, offering to cook, offering to be traditional, offering whatever they think might work, and discovering that the offer itself is too late by about 10 years. Women are now the ones waking up at 3 a.m. with the cold realization that all those years they spent rejecting average men who would have treated them like queens has left them competing for the tiny percentage of top tier men who still play the game. And even those men are starting to opt out. And the men, we are not gloating. We are not starting revenge movements. We are not making TikToks dancing on anybody's grave. We are simply living. We are buying land in the country and building cabins. We are converting vans and traveling the world on our own terms. We are opening businesses that only need a laptop and an internet connection. We are forming brotherhood stronger than any marriage ever was. We are mentoring the next wave of young kings and teaching them what we learned the hard way. We are becoming the men our grandfathers would salute and our fathers wish they had the courage to be. And every day, another 1,000 men wake up, look around at the matrix they were born into, and make the same decision we did: peace over performance, freedom over chains, self respect over begging for scraps at a table that was never set for us in the first place. This is not the end of civilization. This is the end of an era built on the exploitation of male labor, male sacrifice, and male silence. A new era is beginning, an era where a man's default state is strength, abundance, and zero tolerance for disrespect. An era where peace is non negotiable. An era where we protect our energy the same way we used to protect women from discomfort, fiercely, instinctively, without apology. And the beautiful irony: the more we walk away, the more society will be forced to rebuild itself on terms that actually respect men. Laws will have to change when there are no more men willing to marry under the current ones. Culture will have to shift when there are no more desperate men to exploit. Standards will have to rise when male attention becomes the rarest resource on earth. We are not asking for a seat at the table anymore. We built our own table, and the view from here is spectacular. So, to every man still on the fence, still hoping she will change, still thinking maybe one more text, one more date, one more chance will fix it, I am here to tell you what, with love in my heart and fire in my voice. Well, stop, walk away, close the door, lock it, throw away the key. The peace on the other side is worth more than every woman on earth combined. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to make a speech. You do not need to argue your case. Just leave quietly, calmly, permanently. Because the greatest statement a man can make in 2025 is not words, it is absence. And our absence is being felt around the world. Because the story doesn't stop when the men walk away. The story gets louder, wilder, and way more beautiful the longer we stay gone. So strap back in, because I'm about to take you 5, 10, 20 years into the future and show you exactly what happens when an entire generation of men refuses to return to the plantation. This is the part they will never put in the history books, but every single one of us is going to live it. 2030. The average age of first marriage for women in the West has now cracked 40 for the first time ever. Not because they are all boss babes choosing career over family, that cope died years ago. It's because there are simply no men left who are willing to sign the contract. The government has rolled out incentive packages, tax breaks for married couples, subsidized housing for newlyweds, even straight up cash bonuses if you get engaged before 35. Billboards on the highway literally say, "Marry young, save the nation." And men just drive past laughing, windows down, music loud, middle finger to the wind. Universities are 65% female and climbing. Entire majors, psychology, sociology, gender studies, communications, have become ghost towns of women teaching other women who will never find husbands with the degrees they paid 200K for. Male enrollment keeps dropping because young kings realized college is just an expensive obedience school designed to turn them into compliant worker drones for women who already hate them. Trade schools, coding boot camps, and entrepreneurship programs are exploding with men only. The smartest women are starting to follow the men into those spaces, but the damage is done. The prestige pipeline that used to feed high value men into the marriage market has been permanently rerouted. Corporations are in full panic mode. HR departments rebrand themselves as chief happiness officers and start offering masculine wellness packages. On site gyms, steak lunches, no meeting Fridays, even company paid testosterone therapy, anything to keep the remaining high performing men from jumping ship to go fully remote and location independent. But it's too late. The best engineers, developers, traders, and creators have already built their own companies, or joined small, tight knit, all male teams where the only diversity hire is another absolute killer who pulls his weight. The corporate world is slowly turning into a giant daycare for women and low T men who never woke up. Birth rates have fallen so far that entire elementary schools are closing and being converted into luxury lofts for single men. Teachers' unions are screaming, but nobody cares because there are no kids to teach. Politicians float ideas like paying women $10,000 per child with no father named on the birth certificate. They actually call it single mother heroism bonus. And the proposal gets laughed out of committee because even the simps in office finally did the math and realized they would be taxing childless men to pay women who deliberately excluded them from fatherhood. The housing market has split in two. You have the urban core, overpriced shoebox apartments filled with single women, cats, houseplants, and $18 oat milk lattes. Rents keep climbing because the government keeps printing money to subsidize them. Then you have the exurbs and rural areas, sprawling compounds, off grid cabins, man caves the size of small malls, all bought cash by men in their 20s and 30s who stacked crypto, learned trades, or built online businesses while the rest of the world was arguing about pronouns. These zones become known as free states. No HOA Karens, no ring doorbell vigilantes, no noise complaints, just men, dogs, guns, grills, and dating apps finally collapse under their own weight. Tinder files. Chapter 11 in 2029, Hinge gets sold for parts. Bumble becomes a lesbian only platform because that still barely survives. The only apps that thrive are niche networks for high value men and the tiny percentage of women who figured out how to behave like wives instead of influencers. Even then, the men on those apps treat them like luxury goods. Beautiful to look at, nice to test drive, but nobody is putting a ring on it unless she brings peace, loyalty, and femininity that would make 1950s housewives blush. The passport bro phenomenon goes supersonic. Entire towns in Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Eastern Europe rebrand themselves as masculine sanctuary cities. English speaking bars, Western style gyms, and steakhouses pop up overnight. Local economies boom. Local women learn how to cook, clean, dress feminine, and speak respectfully because they finally have competition from women who never swallowed the feminist poison. Western women fly down for vacation and get humiliated when the same men who wouldn't give them the time of day back home now treat them like the entitled tourists they are. Viral videos of 6-foot blondes crying in Bali nightclubs because he told me I have an attitude problem become the new entertainment genre. Back home, the soft guy era propaganda reaches fever pitch. Male influencers with eyeliner and pastel cardigans get multi-million-dollar Netflix deals to teach boys how to process emotions and be better allies. Viewership numbers are in the single digits because every real man is too busy lifting, stacking, and living to watch that garbage. The only people tuning in are women and the 5% of men who still haven't figured out they're being farmed for attention. Religion makes a roaring comeback, but not the watered down, feminist approved version. Young men rediscover Stoicism, Orthodox Christianity, high church Catholicism, and even old school Islam. Anything with rules, hierarchy, and a demand for masculine strength. Churches that preach submission for wives and leadership for husbands are packed wall to wall with men in their 20s. The soy boy pastors who spent years telling men to serve her vision are preaching to folding chairs and collecting unemployment. By 2035, the government finally admits defeat and starts drafting male re engagement initiatives. They float ideas like banning no alimony for childless divorces, default 50-50 as custody, and removing the ability to claim child support without paternity testing. The proposals get shredded in committee because the voting base is now 60% female, and they would rather watch society burn than give up their golden parachute. The laws never pass. The collapse accelerates. Cities start looking like dystopian movie sets, beautiful infrastructure falling apart because the men who used to maintain it are now living 2 hours outside city limits in compounds with private wells and solar panels. Public transportation grinds to a halt. Power grids fail more often. Packages take weeks to deliver. Women post videos screaming at the sky, asking why nothing works anymore, while men watch from their back porches, sipping whiskey and roasting marshmallows. And through all of it, not a single man comes back. Not one. We don't riot, we don't protest, we don't beg. We just keep building our own world, brick by brick, lift by lift, dollar by dollar, laugh by laugh. By 2040, the phrase men walking away is taught in what's left of the universities as the turning point of the century. Historians argue about whether it was an economic movement, a political rebellion, or a spiritual awakening. They write books with titles like The Great Opt Out and The Silence That Ended the West. None of them understand. It was all three at once, and none of them are men. So they miss the real point. We didn't walk away because we lost. We walked away because we won. We won our time back. We won our peace back. We won our money back. We won our dignity back. We won our future back. And once a man wins those five things, there is no offer on earth, no body, no amount of money, no promise, no threat that can ever make him trade them away again. So let the old world crumble. Let them scream into the void. Let them make their videos, pass their laws, print their money, cry their tears. We are on the other side of history now, building something new, something unbreakable, something that runs on brotherhood, strength, and the deepest peace any generation of men has ever known. And every single day, another young boy watches his father or his older brother live this life, looks at the alternative, and makes the same decision we did. The fire spreads quietly. The empire of peace grows silently. And one day, when the last simp finally turns off the lights in the old world and walks toward the glow on the horizon, where real men are laughing around a bonfire under a sky full of stars, he will understand what we all understand now. Freedom isn't something you ask for. Freedom is something you take. And we took it. What did you think about all this? Do you agree? Are you already walking your own path, or are you still holding out hope that things will go back to how they were? Drop your thoughts below, because I read every single comment, and the brotherhood in this comment section is unstoppable. Like the video if you felt this one in your soul. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. And if this spoke to you, share it with every man who needs to hear it today. And just remember, all roads lead to MWA. Men walking away. Cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.